Hi, family member. Do you recall my interview with Terri Brewer about her parallel path alongside her son William from season 3 of the podcast? Yeah, I hope you do, because today we're going to follow up with Terri to hear the story of William moving out to live on his own. So, hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of season 6 of our Parallel Paths, a future for my loved one with a disability and for me. My name is Jerry, Dr. Geraldine Arango, and this podcast is about just what the title says, the parallel paths of family members and their loved ones with intellectual disabilities. I'm a parent myself, and I always have questions. So let's nurture and support ourselves as we nurture and support our loved ones with intellectual disabilities. Because there's more than one path, more than one future to talk about, and that's why we're here. So I am delighted to introduce today's returning guest, Terri Brewer. Terri and I and our sons, William and Nick, share the same supports broker, Bradley Beck. And you may remember Bradley from an episode a while back about managing support staff. I did a couple of episodes on that. And back then, Bradley had shared with me that Terri's story was one that we needed to hear as someone supporting her son, William, to live his vision of an everyday, meaningful life. I've seen William's paintings on Facebook, on Instagram, these bright bursts of color. I'm even looking at them as we speak on Zoom. I'm looking at them behind Terri, and they're just beautiful and joyful so often. I've also watched videos that William has created and posted. I've been to presentations by Terri on topics like the life course tools. And I know that Terri and William, correct me if I'm wrong, are both active in an organization called SAU1, Self Advocates
Yes,
United as One. Okay.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And families can?
Yes. We
Okay.
just did a presentation for them two
Okay.
nights ago. Yes.
All right. So yeah, that's another really interesting organization. I would love to catch up with them at some point and get them on the podcast. So maybe you can, kind of weave that in, Terri, as you're telling your story here.
Mhm.
But today's conversation really is a follow-up, and I'm calling it William Moved Himself. Because I was reviewing the transcript of our season 3 episode, and it was something that you, Terri, said referring to William. I think it was referring to William's school years. And does that,
Yes.
yeah, that,
Yes. I remember William went to an approved private school, so you could stay in the same class for a while.
right.
And when he went back in September, he was in the same class. He got up and he moved to the next level. And I got a
Okay.
call and they were like, William moved. I said, okay,
Okay.
well, everybody said, we'll see how it works. And it worked out fine.
All right. Well, that's a kind of a nice little segue
Yeah.
there after all, because yeah, that which you were using to refer to William's school years, that impressed me about now. And even though you said it so long ago, I thought, that would be kind of a fun place to start is William moved himself, although I'm sure there was much more involved than that. So welcome, Terri. And
Thank you.
I want to ask you, my introduction was kind of meager about you. How would you describe yourself and introduce yourself to listeners who don't know you well, beyond my description? Because it's been a while.
Well, at this point in the game, I'm William's mother. That's how when I'm out, people refer to me as, are you William's mother? And
Hmm.
yes, I am. I work with Self Advocates United as One, which is a wonderful organization that supports self advocates and does training on self advocacy. And this was my start. We started as the partnership years and years ago. And this was my first introduction into self advocacy. So I've been doing it for I guess William's 40, so like 40 years now. And everything I've learned from family members the most, the
Yep.
most. And we just continue to strive to um, have William have the best life possible.
Yeah. And I mean, I think so many of us really, that's what we're doing. It's really about what our loved one's vision is and how we can support them in in that particular part of their vision for their life. And back when we talked the first time, I what I used to do is I give people a choice of questions or reflections before we talk, and you
Hmm.
chose the topic a day in the life. And so
Okay.
that yeah, I'm curious to update about to get William's story updated, a day in his life. But I'm
Hmm.
also curious to know about the path that the two of you are navigating together, even when you're not physically together the way you were, the last time I spoke to you, where he was living in the house with you. Because
Hmm.
like a day in the life of this is always really about one, a day in the life of William, a day in the life of Terry and William, and a day in the
Hmm.
life of Terry and William and the whole family.
Right, right.
So where are you now, and how did you get there, and how are you staying sane and strong while you're on the path?
It's funny when I think back. Actually, it's been like a year. William moved out May of last year.
Ah,
And he was the driving force in all of this. When my husband and I moved into this house in 2010, my bright idea and his, we thought, oh, you know, we'll leave this house to William. No, this is not something that William wanted. William always said that he wanted to live in an apartment.
okay.
And the biggest obstacle to him was money.
Of course. Yeah.
We can't pay a mortgage and pay rent for him or even with his support. So it was the pilot, the housing pilot through the Office of Developmental Programs
Okay.
that he was accepted into. And this is what has enabled him to live on his own. And what I find now is I sometimes feel a bit disconnected from him because he is doing so much. He's living his life and he's loving it. He's doing events with his art and he's going to, he was over in Jersey a couple weeks ago doing an event. And as a matter of fact, in August, he will be going to San Francisco,
Ooh,
and some of his paintings will be in a gallery.
nice.
So
How exciting.
this is a really big move, and I had to, the way I navigated it, William has clearly set his boundaries of what he wants me involved in. And I could not do this. We could not do this without a supportive team.
Okay, I got a lot of things I want to unpack with you about these pieces because part of what I hope to accomplish in our podcast is to help people to see the pieces because sometimes
Hmm.
it feels like, wow, she did that, they did that, I can't do that. But it is a lot. It's a lot of moving parts.
It's
And I'm going to back you all the way up to the ODP piece where you were saying,
okay.
what are you talking about there?
The Office of Developmental Programs in Pennsylvania has, it's called a housing pilot. and it's in Delaware County is one of the counties. It's not statewide. I believe they hope it to be statewide, but
Hmm.
it is in Delaware County where we live. And William applied twice. The
Okay.
first time he was denied. And what I think is that we didn't demonstrate enough that he could live or basically be overnight by himself.
Okay.
He would go away to camp and he was perfectly fine, being away from us, but we didn't show that he could stay in the house by himself.
Right. Camp's not quite by yourself. Yeah. So
So what we did is my husband and I went away for a week. We took a cruise.
I was gonna say, and how often do you get to go away?
That was the first time we ever went away.
Oh.
Ever went away. So
Yeah.
it was really, really nerve-wracking. But what we did was we had support. Of course, we had ev- everybody knew that we were leaving in terms of family and support, but
Right.
his support came during the day, made sure he ate, everything was fine, and he was home alone in the
Ah.
evening.
Okay.
Uh, and everybody had a key to the house just in case, too.
Hey.
And that went fine. There was
All
no
right.
issue. So when it came back around, we applied again. And with the help of the support, we said, okay, we showed that William can stay during the day, and he's doing his thing.
Yes.
He's painting or going out in the community, whatever it is he's doing. But the issue was at night, and we demonstrated that he could be alone at night in the house. So that
Okay.
was a big piece. Once it was accepted, that's when the work started, which we could not have done without he does have the waiver, so there are supports. And one of the supports is called home and tenancy, where you can have someone who will look for apartments for you, who will talk to the landlords to
Hmm.
pave the way. Because
Yeah.
what this grant does is, or this pilot does, is it pays 70% and William pays 30% of the rent.
Oh, that makes it so much more doable.
So it it's doable.
Yeah.
And I was extremely nervous, but the young lady from Values into Action was excellent. And the one thing I said was, I want to be able to hear him scream. So I didn't want him
Hey.
to I didn't want him too far away.
Okay.
And he's 15 minutes away.
Okay.
I think that's workable.
Yeah.
And she found listings, talk to different, the landlords, explain the program. I didn't have to do any of that.
All
She
right.
set everything up, and within the boundaries that mom made, to be perfectly honest.
Hey, that's all right.
And that's when we went and started looking. And we actually only looked at two apartments.
Hmm.
The one apartment was in Yaden.
Okay.
Fell in love with it.
Oh.
He fell in love with it. And the other one was in Clifton Heights, which was a little bit closer to me. But he just kept saying Yaden, Yaden.
All
I'm
right.
like, well, okay.
Okay.
So we filled out the application. The pilot paid all of the down payment. The only money that William has had to pay is 30% of his rent and his utilities. So that has worked out well.
Okay. So you didn't like go a Section 8 route or anything like that. It was all through this pilot?
That's another thing I think that parents need to demonstrate is the fact that this is something that the individual wants. William was on the Section 8 list,
Okay.
but as we know, uh, that who knows
It's
when that's going to come up.
another
And
waiting list.
he was on that for maybe 3 years or so. And that wasn't going to come through. But we were waiting to see, and we were, looking to see if there were any other programs. But it just so happened that this pilot opened up. It was in Delaware County, and he was finally accepted.
Okay. And I mean, you sort of established the interest and the desire and the vision of like moving out by saying we're on the Section 8 list, no? Did that help?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it helped, but I do remember from the application it asked if, he was on any other housing list or one. So
Mm.
it couldn't have
Okay.
hurt.
It didn't hurt. I mean, you've got it.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah. And so, at this point where your son is gonna start packing, how did you how did you feel about it?
Well, of course I was nervous. I was excited because it's something that he wanted, and I know it was something that he wanted. And just to see when he got the keys, and I have a picture of him with the keys, getting the
Oh,
keys, he was just he was just thrilled. So then it just got to the point of figuring out, you know, what it was he actually needed in there. But I'm calm now and speaking calm, but I wasn't nervous. I The first thing I made sure is that there was a ring camera
sure.
with
There's technology to help with
with
all of this.
exactly.
Why not put it in place? Yeah.
And also through the home tenancy service, you can get, and also with the supports coordinator who was extremely helpful. And I know all aren't, but our People First is
Okay.
a wonderful agency.
Great.
And we got Safe in Home, which is they have cameras um, in the main living areas, the
Hmm.
kitchen and the his living room. And
Yes.
so I can see. They also have, in case there's a fire, his bed will shake because I said he likes a lot of noise. So he has like, a fan on YouTube fan blowing, and he has also his stove fan that blows.
Okay.
So it's noise in there. So the bed would shake,
All right.
and they call him every day.
So the white noise, he sort of made his
Yeah,
own white noise.
white
And so
noise.
you'd have to
Yes.
kind of be able to alert him over that noise. And I guess it
Hmm.
sounds like you using something like physical.
Yes. So
All right.
if he's in bed, his bed's going to shake.
All right. All right.
And they call and check on him
Yeah.
and if they can't reach him, they call me. They go down the line. So
Very good.
I feel really, really safe with that for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Because um in a perfect world, you don't need it, but it's got to be there
Mm-hmm.
just in case, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's great, and that's another something that you can have through the waiver. And it
Mm-hmm.
really helps to have a supports coordinator who can kind of keep putting you back onto that whole like list of things that
Right.
you can get through your
Right.
waiver. So good for
And
them and good for you.
and I'm not going to lie, that first couple months, mom was always looking at that camera, seeing what he was doing. But
Hey, that yeah, because I mean, you just emptied the nest, okay?
right,
And so your little bird's over there someplace in a different tree. And
And
yeah,
and it also gave me the opportunity to really observe him with me not being around, me or my husband being around. And there was a couple things that I had said when we were setting things up. One of the things that I had said was William will not use the oven unassisted or cook on the stove with the
okay.
fire. He doesn't like it. He's not going to do it. We don't have
Mhm.
to worry about that. No, no, no. I look on the camera and he's taking something out of he puts his oven mitts on and he's taking something out of the oven and then he's stirring a pot on top of it. And I'm like, well, he wasn't going to do
He was
that.
watching all that time.
And and what I realized was because he would do on Tuesday Tuesday nights, families can has cooking.
Hmm.
And there's a group of individuals and they send you a list beforehand and you go shopping and you know exactly what you need and then you set up your iPad or whatever and you can watch them cooking with Chef Mary. So what I know is he would always tell me turn the stove on, me do this or that. And then I realized my husband said, well, you were there. The boy got to eat, so
Yeah,
he's
it's a
doing what he
motivator.
needs. He's got it. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like,
And someone's modeling it
oh,
for him, so he's trying it out, and then he's trying it out on his own. And I think sometimes, we know that we're nervous about can he, will he, should he? And then it's like, oh,
hmm
son of a gun, he did. And
hmm
we have to give people, the phrase dignity of risk comes to mind, is to say, you know what?
exactly.
Yeah,
It is exactly, and
yeah.
you have to learn how to back up. Just
Hmm.
back up. I was watching one of my spying times. I was watching him clean up the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, that's so precious. He's cleaning up the kitchen. He had his dustpan and he emptied the trash. And I'm like, oh, that's so precious. And he's picking up the trash and he's,
Yeah.
making sure it's secure. And then he lifts it out the trash can and he starts walking towards the door. And I'm like, well, where's he going? So I switched to the other camera and he's walking outside. I said, he's going outside by himself. How can he be going outside by himself? Oh my God. So I'm freaking out, getting ready to put my shoes on, grab the car keys and drive over. And then he comes back in and he puts a fresh bag in. And I said, Terry,
Like he's supposed to do.
that's right. Empty the
Yeah.
trash, take it to the dumpster.
Uh-huh. Oh
He
my
didn't
goodness.
do any of that while he was home. But again, he had other people doing it.
I was going to say, and who was doing it? Who was doing it?
It was either me or Bill.
Yeah. And he could do it. Did we believe he could do it? Did we figure, oh, it's faster if I just do it? Like all those things that you just do, and the person doesn't get a chance to try, and then they do it and they did it. And
Right,
and you're like, son of a gun. I
right.
love those moments. And then I go, did I, like, why didn't I think he could do this? But he did. What else really matters is that he did do it. You know,
It's
how he learned it, whether he was watching you all these years and just knew that that's how it was done, or he picked up something from the family's can, or both. He's
right.
doing it.
It, exactly. And he's just showing such independence that I'm overwhelmed.
Oh,
I'm
I love it.
I'm
I love
I'm
it.
just overwhelmed.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
are there still some challenges though in the middle of all of this anyway? Have you noticed anything that's been like, oh, we have to work on that? Because
Um
listeners need to know that it's,
in
it's
the very beginning, oh, what he's in the very beginning, it was mainly really keeping everything in his apartment clean. The sweeping and the wiping the crumbs and all of this. And one thing that he definitely had to learn was to do his own laundry.
Okay.
I mean, I just did it. I didn't think anything about it. I just did it. And it was a challenge. It was, slow going. I got one of those board things to help him with his t-shirts and whatnot. So one thing that one of his staff said is they go to the laundromat and he folds everything while he's there so that he can just put his stuff away.
Yeah.
And the staff is like, you know, the longer you take, the longer we gonna be here.
Yeah.
So that is starting to move, along, but it was definitely the laundry was a struggle, keeping things as tidy as they should be, really making sure that he's, you know, really washing his dishes. They got a timer. I'm not even exactly sure how that timer works, but to make sure that he is soaking or washing or whatever an appropriate amount of time. So it's the
Yeah.
things that came up that would brought attention to what needed to to be done. And we're still working on his food because they're trying, he has two different staff. And so they try different things with him and whatnot. But if he doesn't like it, he'll push it in the back of the refrigerator instead of just saying, no, I don't want it.
Hmm.
So we've had some spoiled food because he just pushes it in the back. I mean, I'm talking about what I'm saying now and talking about is from today. Mind you, this has been a year that he's been, on his own. And actually, Sun, Sunday is the only day that he does not have staff. And that's because I come over, we go to church, we have a day. And
Okay.
Sunday is our day, but every
Okay.
other day he has staff. And we've also found that staff can get sick too.
Yeah.
So the backup plan would be me or my husband.
Yeah.
And so William, you okay? I'm okay. Do you want? No, I'm okay. He doesn't want us to come over. He's he loves being alone.
That's all right.
So
Well,
we don't have to go. But again, would I feel that confident if I didn't have a camera? Probably not. I would be over there just
mhm.
making sure. But
Why not let the technology help?
it's
There's nothing wrong with that.
it's it's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
absolutely yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely wonderful. And I think another challenge is where he's picking up a little weight.
Yeah.
And I think
That Nick happened. That's what happened with Nick too. It's like, ooh, if I were here, you wouldn't be eating this much food.
and so I don't necessarily I think I am part to blame also because on Sunday, we eat, and then, he has to go to the store. And we went to the store this past Sunday, and I was like, William, you really got to watch what you're eating. And I walked away, and when I got up to the counter, he had some corn dogs. I said, "Where, William?" He had his juice. I said he could get some the cookies
Hmm.
would be fine, but then he comes in with some corn dogs. Like, okay,
But you know
I
what?
give.
When you think about all these things that he's doing, um, and thinking about anybody moving out on their own for the first time, I always hear a certain amount of, yeah, nobody gets it perfectly right the first time.
No.
Nobody has unspoiled. Everything in the fridge is totally unspoiled. I mean, one of my jobs, I think, when I go back to Nick's on the weekend is I'll go there on Sunday nights. And I think one of
Uh-huh.
my jobs is to remove the science projects from the fridge. It's like, what is that? Ooh, get that out of there. That's what two guys do is like leave too much food around. And
Hmm.
like that whole idea of kind of old school pre this and pre that, that we're going to be doing things to pre so that you can move out. It's like, yeah, our
Yeah,
guys need more support and more practice. But if you're waiting for anybody, who among us got our first apartment and had it all together? Why do we hold others to that standard, our guys to that standard?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And because I'm working with a friend, she's doing future planning for her son, and there's like a whole list of questions that you go through with this. And I'm thinking, I did none of that. It
Uh,
was you learn by things happening. Of course, you set things up,
yeah.
the best you can, but there is no way that you can check off all of the boxes to
No,
have it perfect. You
no.
just can't. And if you think that you're going to do that, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and the
Yeah.
person is not going to be able to live or move or do anything, because I
Right.
think that that would be you stopping them because, oh, we didn't do this. Oh, he can't do
Hmm.
that. Oh, he's
Hmm.
got to learn this. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
It
no.
makes me think of my second apartment where I left hard-boiled eggs on the stove and went to temple to go to class. And somewhere in the day, I called my neighbor and just said, "Can you check? I think I might have left eggs on the stove." And they
Hmm.
went in and there were eggs all over the ceiling. And it was like, you know what? That's what happens, Anybody doing that, that first time, it's like it's okay. But I mean, yes, our guys are going to need more support. Our guys are going to need maybe more structure. And each person, there's no one way that this is done. What this is
Mm-mm.
is sharing is William's story. I listen and I can hear some of Nick and then some of things that, wow, Nick needs more support than William or whatever. And it's like, what it
Hmm.
I think really is about giving that person that dignity of risk and saying,
It
let's try.
that that's exactly it. It's the dignity of risk.
Yeah.
It's it might not work, but it might.
Yeah.
We don't know. Or,
Yeah.
well, if we do it this way, maybe that'll help you.
Hmm.
But to just not try or put up, so many obstacles for the person,
Hmm.
it's
Or to really say, oh, I could never do that, to really lower our expectations for our
hmm
loved one without giving them a chance to try,
exactly
especially if they express the desire to try to live on their own. I kept
right,
hearing about an apartment. Nick was like, I want an apartment, I want an apartment. And it was like, you know what? I have to listen to that. And
right.
then, and then what? But he was saying this to us,
Hmm.
and it was like, well, maybe we could try it. And he and his housemate there, and with lots of support, it's been 3, 4 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's heavily supported because, I mean, Nick has a seizure disorder, so we have to have somebody there at night. We just do at this point. Um,
Okay.
but he works at Lowe's 16 hours a week. He has staffing during the day. I mean, things that we found in the waiver. He's getting supports like he has a personal trainer, So and I learned from other parents and I learned from my supports coordinator who's wonderful and I learned from Bradley who's, such a great resource.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think when you put those questions out there and when
Hmm.
our loved ones put that question out there to say
Hmm.
like, can I get an apartment?
Right.
It's like, well, let's see. If as we sort of finish here, what advice might you share with our listeners who are trying to support a loved one who has said, I would like a place of my own.
I think that, and I describe even now, sometimes I have these knee-jerk reactions when, and it didn't even occur to me. I wasn't even really thinking when William is out and he's doing an event, and he's with staff when he's doing an event.
Uh-huh.
Well, staff might have to use the restroom
Okay.
and leave William there by himself. And I'm like, you left him by himself? And he's like, well, yeah. And he sold three things while I wasn't here. I'm like, oh, okay. I think number one thing is we have to get past our knee-jerk reactions to,
Hmm.
because as parents, as mom, as dad, we're going to have those things. And I told the staff, just because I have a knee-jerk reaction, it is not a no. And I feel like staff have to have the ability, first of all, you have to trust them, and they have to have the ability to have candid conversations with you. I feel like individuals have to have time away from their parent or whoever they have to. Whether it's William always went to camp. I think respite was a was just a wonderful thing, and he loved it. And
Hmm.
it showed that he could be away from us. I think
Hmm.
that was really big, and I think just listening, and nobody says that you have to. Lord knows we didn't do everything all at once, and sometimes you just have to do stuff scared.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, sometimes you have to do stuff scared because it's just it's the human experience, you know,
Hmm.
and then it's okay. And if,
Hmm.
I think to myself, well, if this doesn't work, we'll try something else.
Right.
We don't give up. We try to learn from whatever mistakes or whatever, but we don't give up. We just keep
Hmm.
trying. And let me ask you this. How has this move changed your your life, your marriage, your other family, the rest of the family, the professional life? How has it changed for
Well,
you?
it's number one. I didn't ever necessarily see us being empty nesters.
Okay.
So that was a new experience. And, you know, Bill and I were sometimes like bumping into one another, like, you know, oh, uh, it's different. I think, and sometimes it gets, because it's just the two of us, it can be a little quiet. Or not that William was loud, but just knowing that there was a third person in the house.
Yeah.
So we
Dynamic
have
changed.
we have overnight visits with the granddaughter. So she helps, and William's room has now become her room.
Okay.
But it's allowed me. I'm now. This was William's room.
Okay.
This was where he worked and stuff. He
Hmm.
had a bedroom, but this was his work room.
Okay.
And I have, I keep, this was the stuff he allowed me to, he didn't take with him, but it just allows me more time to center myself. And
Okay.
sometimes, as I think a lot, I think about everything a lot, all the time.
Okay.
Should we do this? Should we do that? Oh, William. Oh, I wonder what William's going to do. Oh, there's certain things that are off my plate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of liberating. I mean, I have to call staff and find out what the heck is William doing. I see something on the calendar. What? I saw something on his calendar that I thought I should be involved with. And they were
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, no, no, that's a work
No.
thing. That's no." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay."
it's a big shift because we've had to kind of been in that role way past the age where a typical child would be really separating. we're not separating. They are not separating. We're not separating. It's just, it's different.
It is
And
different.
so, was it individuation? Um, and so it is a bit of, I think a bit of a shock to the system to be like, oh, I don't have to go?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Whereas I, I don't have to support this,
Uh,
because also as mom and dad, he's a 40-year-old man who doesn't need mommy and daddy
yeah,
up under him,
yeah, yeah. Like
nor
most 40-year-old men don't want mom and dad.
exactly,
You come when I invite you, not when, you're not, that's not your job.
nor does he want it, and he has made it clear. On those Sundays when I go over and of course I still gotta check and do, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And his when he's had enough, which is maybe 5 minutes, see you next Sunday,
Bye.
which means it's time for you to leave. All right. I asked him, they went and William got a couch. So they were telling I was over for the ISP and they were saying, oh, we're going to put it right here, showing me where they're going. I said,
Huh.
oh, William, you're going to have a couch. Can I come over and stay? Can I spend the night? He didn't look at me. He didn't acknowledge me. Dead silence. So I took that as a no.
Take that as a no. Don't mean to be rude, Mom. I'm just gonna like make believe I
Yeah.
didn't hear you.
But it's amazing to me the independence, and it's almost like a blossoming flower just
Okay.
doing doing things, and I'm sitting back in awe,
And
just
but
like
you're blossoming too. You're
just like
getting
ready
that
to
time.
burst.
You're
Mhm.
getting that time that you didn't really have before that you had to kind of steal. And you're getting
Mhm.
time to nurture yourself.
Mhm.
And we do forget that how important that is. That
Mhm.
you're bringing a better Terry to this
Yeah.
in every situation, hopefully.
Picking up things that I haven't done in, oh God, years. Like I really like crafting. I really, I used to crochet. I used to do, plastic. I did a lot of different things, but it just fell away. And
Hmm.
I'm finding that now, ooh, you know, I can do this. I have the time now to do
Yeah.
it.
Enjoy it. Enjoy.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing this. Are there resources that you might recommend to a family who's kind of getting ready to try to support a loved one moving on?
I I would suggest, of course, their supports coordinator.
Yeah.
Again,
Hmm.
some are better than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
I I would ask because also what this home tenancy will do, you don't have to be ready, that waiver support, you don't have to be ready to move out tomorrow. They
Okay.
can talk you through things. They can help you with how would you be a good tenant. What you need to do, what resources that you have. And also, I am finding that your health insurance can be very helpful because William has United Health, and he can pay like certain utilities through that.
Really
Yes,
interesting. Okay.
yes, you can do over the counter things and have it shipped to you, or you could like your gas or electric. I would absolutely suggest getting on a housing list and not to worry that it's going to open up the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not. That's the first thing that I said, oh, it's going to be my luck. I put his name down and something happens. Well, nothing happened.
No.
I would suggest utilizing respite for an individual to see, how they react. I mean, the very first time William went to camp, and I just knew that he had missed missed me and he was in the pool. And I just realized when I walked up there, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to get all wet because he's going to leap up and he's going to run to me. Well, let me tell you, he popped up out the pool, saw me, and there was such disgust on his face that I was there that I said, oh, okay. Next summer, he went to two camps. So, yeah, but
Yeah, that makes me think of the first year that Nick went to sleepaway camp. Um, I walked him through it. We did all the things to get ready, get ready, get ready. And that camp, um, they every year they would come, all the counselors would come running down the hill, and he would barely say goodbye to us. Okay. He would just turn and
mhm.
leave. And it was like, all right. But the very first summer, where I had, we practiced and we did all the things and we were ready and all that. And I was like, okay, bye. And my husband burst into tears. And it was like, I guess I should have prepared him too. It's like, my boy is leaving. And it was like, just for a week, you know? I said, I was ready. Nick was ready.
Uh-huh.
Daddy
He
was
was.
not. So yeah, but our guys can do it, you know?
And
And you
I
kind of
just
get
think,
used to the fact that, well, I guess I'll take the indifference as a sign of the fact that they feel that's safe with us, that they know that
yes,
we're always there.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And because we got to the point where we said, we're just going to slow down and push all your stuff out the car and let them take you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once he was there, he was gone.
That's what we had too. That's what we had too.
Hmm.
So what's next, Terry? What's next?
Oh my goodness. I am, I just want to continue to see William thrive because one of the things that was always my biggest fear is that something would, and I always use the word disappear with William, not
Uh-huh.
die, but we would disappear and he would still be in this house and it would traumatize him. He
Yeah.
wouldn't know, he wouldn't have it. So I am confident now, not that I plan on going anywhere, that if something were to happen to us this today, that not only would William be able to survive, but he has support in place
Hmm.
that would be there for him to help him navigate. And I think that that is important that you have people, whether it's paid or not at this point, that will help your loved one navigate whatever it is.
Yeah. And I always think maybe better we do all this now while I'm here
Yes,
to sort of, kind of shepherd him through in my way as
yes,
I try to let go and let go and let go, rather than he's 28. Nick is 28. Um, then something happened and it's like, wait, where did mom go? My husband passed away in 2014. And it's like, what a trauma to have everything disappear and then you're like moved out of the place, you know?
exactly,
Like yikes.
exactly. And
And
that's what
so,
didn't,
yeah.
I did not
Hmm.
want.
Yeah.
And he was clear that he didn't want to stay here.
Yeah.
He was clear at that.
Very
And
good. Yeah.
that would have been just too much.
Yeah.
So, right now I'm taking it moment by moment and enjoying and, seeing what Bill and I can do and, stay
Yeah.
out of trouble because we're confident that, like I said, it was 2 years ago that was the first time we ever went away,
Hmm.
just me
Yeah.
and Bill, two
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
And now we know we can.
And you can. Yeah. And it's not, it's something to just really embrace and know that it is a day at a time and a week at a time and a month at a time. It's like grab it when you can
Hmm.
and really enjoy it because we do all work really hard to support our loved ones, but we
Hmm.
have to take care of ourselves. And it's
Absolutely.
okay, it's okay to hop on a plane or get on a cruise or something like
Hmm.
that. It's okay.
Hmm.
They'll let them surprise us, and they kind of do, you know.
And not have to cook. That's a that's a big because my husband can cook.
Hmm.
See, so but I would cook because that's what I did. But look, I could eat a bowl of cereal and be happy.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? I do sometimes.
There you go. Because you have earned it. The right to pour the Cheerios instead of finding like thawing out the chicken, you know? So enjoy
Hmm.
and really give yourself a big hug for all the effort. We're never fully out of the woods, but we're at least not like deep in the thick of it. And it is a work
Exactly.
in progress, and they're going to be
It is.
and it is. And it's like, I guess the thing to say is like, yeah, it is a work in progress and it's okay.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did I
we're not
forget?
done yet.
But we're in motion and that's the good stuff. Did I
Hmm.
forget anything? What have I forgotten? Anything you want to add?
No, no.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Okay.
just how incredibly proud I am of William
You should be.
and, you know,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
he has accomplished and continues to accomplish.
Yeah. All those beautiful paintings behind you. Let me see if I took a couple of snaps of our Zoom here. Maybe I can put that up or put up one of his pictures to let people know that an
Hmm.
episode is coming.
And you know
And
what? You see this one painting with it looks like three people over here.
yes. Yeah.
That my mother used to before she passed, and William had just started painting, and she would have like these postcards. Oh, see if he can paint this. See if he can do it. I'm like, oh, precious. Oh, mom, you're just so precious. Those are the three wise men,
Oh.
and it was a young lady that worked with him at the time. So I was like, hey, William, can you do like Nana would really like this picture. Can you do this? And it was three stick people. All right. The child comes in and he does that.
Boom.
Boom. I'm like, okay, okay, so clearly I'm not your muse.
And you know what? Let's be okay with somebody else being even a part-time muse.
I am
Yeah.
tickled pink.
Yeah. And he has people in his life supporting him, people in his life
Hmm.
loving him. That's what else does anybody need?
We all need that.
We all
It's
need
just
it.
that it's so focused on, like our guys and oh maybe they can, oh maybe they can, oh and you have to, set up this step by step chart and you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you can, you're going to wean off of it or you're going to
Hmm.
figure out how that fits in and doesn't become a crutch. And so
Hmm.
it's something that is there for them if they need it and
Right.
let them surprise us.
Right.
And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so I'm so glad that you made time to talk with us today. I love this little follow-up visit to share your story, William's story, and give us some thoughts and wisdom for our journey. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Yay. And listeners, thank you for spending time with Terry and me on today's episode on our parallel paths. So I hope that you will like and follow or subscribe to our podcast, that you'll share it with family and friends. And I really hope you'll return to listen and learn from more stories of people like you and me and our loved one with a disability on our parallel paths. Because you know what? You're not alone. I would love to hear from you. So feel free to comment, to rate the podcast, to share, and to join our Facebook group. And I'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by Networks for Training and Development.